Okay, so before I actually start with Gavotte in C minor, two things I have been meaning to say and just keep forgetting every time I make a video. One, I need to thank Michael Tuckman, who supported me in the Kickstarter project I did last summer. This video is dedicated to you, and I'm sorry it took me so long. I just kept forgetting. And the other thing is I want to apologize to everyone for how slowly I've been producing these videos lately. I know that some people are feeling impatient. Life has just been crazy, and it's hard to find the time. But anyway, hopefully in the next couple of weeks I'll get a few out at least. And I just ask you to be patient. Alright, so Gavotte in C minor. First thing, if you haven't worked on your C minor scale, do so, okay? Because you're going to need to get in that minor mode, which we haven't played in minor a lot. So, practice your C minor scale. But once you actually get working with the piece, I think for me, a lot of what this piece needs is dramatic phrasing and shapes. You know, it's such a beautifully somber, mournful piece. And for me, a lot of it has this kind of feeling of waves, you know, like this fluid, wavy feeling, like right, rather than boring. No way. Okay, so you got to shape everything. Especially because this piece could get boring, since this opening section repeats itself a million times. All right, so to prevent boredom, you need to really make it interesting and do something with it. So let's just practice the first 5 notes, really giving them some shape. I'm going to start up bow. And start out with kind of a slow bow and lead it through to that top G, okay? So slow bow to start. And grow through it. Okay. Then let's add a few more notes. So we've got little shift. Okay, so we just went to lower second position. And that shift might take some practice. We haven't done a lot of lower second position. A lot of upper second, not a lot of lower second. And lower second, the way I find it, of course, is my 3rd finger is replacing 4th finger. Okay. So from the beginning. Now, the spot we just arrived at. I do 2 things here that are maybe a little unusual. Okay, the first is that I couple the 8th notes. And what I mean by that is simply that whenever ever in this piece, pretty much, I have a group of 2 8th notes, I make them into a little group. All right, it sounds like this, more or less. So, right? Okay, that kind of idea. So I would practice it just on 2 notes, and I'd use tons of bow on the first one and almost no bow on the second one. Right? Once I can do one of them, I'll put 2 together. Or a whole bunch together. And basically what you can think of is that you're going to use up a lot of bow on the first, and your bow will almost be stopped for the second one. I mean, it should practically disappear. Now, the other thing I do that's a little weird, which you may have just noticed, is I shifted to upper second position here, rather than going back to play my open D, staying in first position, playing open D. And the reason for this is because I personally cannot make that D sound good. Like about 90% of the time, it's an ugly squawk. So I've decided that this works better for me, and I find it works pretty well for my students too. So if you get the ugly squawk, and I'm talking about, see how kind of ugly squawk? All right, so if that happens to you, shift to second position. Shift, and shift again. All right, one more time, I'll show you slowly. Shift, shift. And in general, just so you know, we like to shift between slurs when possible. Okay, so you don't typically want to shift during a slur unless there's some other good reason to do so. And here, that's what we're doing. I'm putting the shifts between the slurs. Okay. So then when you have this phrase with the couple eighth notes, you also need to shape those together as a group. So rather than just beena, 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 no, we're going to have... Right? Give it some overall shape with each of those little couple eighth notes inside. Woo! All right, and then we're back to pretty much like the beginning. Okay, and once you know that much, you know practically the whole piece, because that comes back, I guess, 2 more times, that whole big section. Or 3 more times. Bunch of times. All right, so then once we do move on to the next thing, we're actually no longer in C minor, we're now in E flat major. So you might want to practice your E flat major scale. Maybe we'll do part of that right now. Shift up to A flat, just a half step higher, extend to B flat. And if you want to go over to the A string, D and E flat. We don't really use those notes, but that's okay. Extend back. Okay, let's put it a little bit closer to the rhythm that actually happens in the piece. We're going to do... up and down 1,000,000 times. And the main thing I'm listening for is intonation. Okay, so this shift right here, that A flat needs to be super in tune, extend up from there. Okay, so intonation, intonation, intonation there. Then, let's put the real bowing with it. Down, up. Up, up. Okay, let's do like 3 of those. Down, up, up. 2 more. Up, up. 1 more. Now, we have the first finger barred across. Did I get there yet? Hold on. I didn't get there yet. I'm coupling those eighth notes too. Then the scale happens again. Now I'm going to bar my first finger across, smush it across 2 strings, shift up, 1 replace 2, sorry, and shift back. So I'll show 1 more time. I have the bar across, just smushing my finger across 2 strings. 1 replace 2, and back to first position. 1 last time. Shift. Shift again. Right, which you already know. Okay, so let's skip on to the next contrasting section. That's when we're starting on our 4th finger G in first position. And this spot, big, bold sound. All right, so all about your bow. Couple. Section 1 more time. I don't think it's the hardest thing in the world, but just so you can see what I'm doing. I'm not going to play the whole thing through. You can figure it out yourself. Thank you again, Michael Tuckman.